Right. Hello and a very warm welcome to the OxPol Podcast, a podcast where me and my beloved co-hosts sit down and talk about politics for an hour. Not sure why anyone would watch that, but alas, my name is Archie. I like a bit of politics, something that I do enjoy, and I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves.
Okay, I'll go first, I suppose. My name is Bryn, and I guess you could call me a centrist.
Yes. My name is George, and I guess you'd call me relatively far right. Probably not.
Good stuff.
I would say I would not far right in the terms that internet would perceive it. A conservative, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, on the further.
On the right side of life.
Yes, exactly.
On the right side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Off to a good start here, folks.
Off to a good start. So, pretty much, we're just going to talk about politics for a while, and that's what most of the episodes are going to be like. But we can talk about other things like philosophy and culture and whatever we feel like talking about it, because you can't control us.
Exactly. So yeah, stick around. Hopefully you'll maybe learn something new.
Yeah, we're meant to have 4 people on, but unfortunately, one of our co-hosts couldn't join us tonight, but that's all right.
They will be here in the future.
We're not alluding to who they are. They'll introduce themselves.
Indeed.
Indeed. This podcast is shrouded in mystery.
Yes. Could be anything. Shall we get on with it?
Yes, we shall. Bryn, you introduce the first topic. We've got a list of topics that we're talking about. A very, very, very long and intellectual list.
Indeed. This should be good. So, as we all know, coronavirus is a thing. I don't think anyone is unaware of that at this point in.
Yeah, I was sitting there and I was like, yeah, it is a thing that is happening at the moment.
Newsflash.
Sad, I must say.
So we're going to really discuss the future of coronavirus, mainly for this country, but also for the whole world, and what impacts it's going to have, and how it's going to change our lives, and everything like that. And I don't know, just discuss it, I suppose.
For our 0 international listeners, if you haven't told, we are from the UK, more specifically Oxford, and that's where the beautiful name OxPol Podcast comes from. Although OxPol sounds like a medication you would give to your kids, it's the best one I could think of. But
Yeah, it sounds like something that, like, one of those intelligence agencies.
OxPol, what, like they like Mensa?
Yeah, that sort of.
Or maybe like a think tank.
Yeah, that sounds rather interesting.
Yeah. Anyhow, coronavirus, of course. What do you guys reckon will happen? I mean, no one can make an accurate prediction. I mean,
No.
back in February, we were sitting there. I bet you were sitting there in class making jokes about it. Never going to hit us. Just like Ebola.
Oh, yeah.
It will fizz out. And now look at
Yeah.
us. Been indoors for 5 months. What's going on?
We have no school, no work for most. Well, people have been at work, but not properly at work.
Furloughed.
Exactly. Nothing normal has really been happening, and something like this is unlikely to happen to us any other time in our lives. You know, this is although the virus won't end, a global pandemic is not something. It'll be an interesting story to pass on to future generations.
If there are future generations.
If there are,
Yes.
We will talk about the future now. So,
you go first, George. What are you thinking? What do you reckon is going to happen? First in the near months, and then in the later months. What are we thinking?
Near months, I reckon we'll have another peak, maybe. At some point.
Whereabouts? Because scientists were talking about the winter wave or anything like that, weren't they?
Yeah, October, November sort of a time period.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably find a vaccine at some point this year, maybe later, maybe December time.
Yeah, a vaccine is an interesting conversation, actually.
it is, yeah. There's been
Fizz out.
news spiraling about the vaccine at the
Oh, yeah.
side,
Yeah.
targeting
But alas,
the.
do you think it will be... Because I think it will be something that we would have to get used to for the rest of our lives.
I agree.
I think it'll be here for a very long time.
It's like the flu. It's like
Yeah, it will just be a
the
thing.
SARS
Yeah.
pandemic or epidemic. It's just going to be something we have to.
yeah, like
wearing masks.
getting used to a new normal. I think that's
Exactly,
what we're
exactly.
gonna have to do. And what do you think is going to happen in the recent months, Bryn?
Well, in our country, I think over the summer they'll continue to ease certain restrictions. We'll continue to just really go about our lives like nothing's really happening. But like George said, by the winter months, I reckon there'll be some sort of a peak, and I think that's going to be the case for a lot of the European countries because the winter's just a lot harsher period. So
Yeah,
it's just
is it like doesn't the virus travel better in the
yeah,
winter, or is that
it's like you have a flu. It's like this is what I think for the future. It's like you have a flu season.
yeah.
I think there'll be a coronavirus season in the winter. Like, that's the sort of
Oh,
new normal.
it
Really,
is pretty deadly though, isn't it? You think
it
about
is.
Yeah.
It's not
It
good.
is scary. Like
It
I
is
was
scary.
just going through YouTube and I realized one of those YouTubers I like hadn't posted in a while. And I went on one of his videos and he had coronavirus and he was like did a video about how awful it was and he almost died and stuff. And it's like
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like what?
people say, "Oh, it's just a cold," but it's not. Like,
People are dying. Like lots of people are
oh,
dying.
no.
On another note, did you see Russia are trying to steal COVID-19
Yes,
vaccine data?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is that even about?
I know.
I read it.
explain more.
I read it on the BBC.
Yeah, I had it briefly on there.
Yeah,
I'm on Yahoo News. That's
yeah. This episode brought to you by Yahoo News.
Other news sites are available.
Yahoo News, the primary source for Yahoo-related topics.
Yes, the group who made the attack are known as Cozy Bear.
Oh, all these hackers come up with such stupid names, like
They do.
WannaCry.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Whatever. Just call yourself like epic hackers.
Speaking of vaccinations, Oxford is leading the way in the
Yes.
world, apparently, for the coronavirus
Big up
Vaccine.
OX.
research. Indeed, OxPols.
Is
We're proudly-
it Oxford University affiliated?
It is.
I'm guessing
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Top lads over there.
They are
Doing
great
the
people.
world proud.
They are. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, they've got their bonnet screwed on correctly or whatever the
Hmm.
phrase is. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I'm a bit worried about all this like restriction. Forgot the word. Loosening.
Easing.
Correct. Yes. I'm a bit worried about all this easing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it was. It was too soon to open gyms and pools and stuff.
Oh yeah. We wanted to copy the other European countries like France or Spain. These cases were far more considerably than us because they were 2 weeks ahead.
Hmm.
So, and we wanted to match that because we're also a top European country in our economics and our
Yeah.
and what have you. But it was just too early for us. If you look at our deaths, there's still 80 odd recorded deaths a day.
Yeah.
So
No. I think this is just my theory, but I think a lot of the big business owners, and obviously, sorry about this, George, but the Tories only really represent the business owners, of the country, right? But right, they represent the middle to ruling class, right? And
Right, go ahead.
I think they realised, okay, literally everyone's shutting down. So what they're going to do is I think they recognise that there's going to be a second peak. And I think what they're going to do is they're going to get everyone out, get everyone like money flowing back into the economy just to give it another extra like bump before we like shut down again. They're like trying to delay time until we get a vaccine, which is
exactly.
which is an incredible move.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
George,
gonna
what do you have to
I'm
say?
gonna have to censor that in post, but still.
Yeah,
That is a
George, what do you
very
have to say?
bad
Could
move.
you? I think your opinions vary to ours slightly, possibly more
Well,
than slightly
I
on this
I
matter.
think a bump to the economy will end up being a good thing in the future, but I think
But it bumped to economy at the risk of thousands dying. Isn't
Yeah,
worth it to
I
me.
just think it's not worth it.
But I
'Cause
also think that considering how close we are to finding a vaccine,
But are we? I thought we were still like
I
even
mean-
if we find a vaccine soon, it will still take months to get it into production.
I saw
Yeah.
something on the news that said September because they had found something that
they find a lot of
Stuff.
tests. They
Yeah.
do tests on human cells, but
I
when
don't
they can
know.
advance it to tests on actual humans, get it out there. when that be, I don't know. I reckon more so maybe Christmas time's looking good, or like that's a good time to get out.
Yeah,
See that
Christmas
personally.
gifts.
A Christmas miracle. Get us a vaccination at Christmas.
Yeah. No, that would be nice, but
I don't see that happening. I see it later than that.
I don't
Yeah.
necessarily that it's been dealt with well. However, I do see that. Firstly, it's the first time we've dealt with this in 100 or so years.
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
Secondly, I don't feel as though anyone else could have done any better necessarily. So, I think unless we'd gone into lockdown very early,
What, better than
Which-
us, or do you mean like better than?
Better than
Like-
I mean,
Boris.
like parties in the UK, like had we had Corbyn, I don't necessarily
right.
think he'd have done any better of a job.
Yeah,
I
but
don't-
I feel like that's just Corbyn. I feel
Yeah.
like Labour,
Yeah.
I feel like Labour as a party would have done better. But maybe...
I feel like if we had Keir Starmer, who's
yeah, I feel like Keir Starmer would have done a cracking job. Fine bloke.
I feel like if we'd had Corbyn, we'd have had even worse economic damage than we already do.
It's
Like
like
he'd have
the-
just
But in
would've-
terms of economics, we're kind of doing all right compared to other countries because of their furlough scheme and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
speaking to a certain person last night, and we were discussing how, since this is a worldwide problem essentially, and everywhere in the world is having to deal with the consequences, it should just be wiped from the records essentially.
Well, like
And you
debts
go,
from borrowing.
yeah, GDP wise, you just go back to where you were previously.
That's not really possible though, isn't it? Because you're always
No.
borrowing from someone, aren't you?
Speaking of finance and furlough schemes, about Rishi Sunak and his
Big fat
big
pockets.
pockets, as we said on the
Yeah. How is he going to pay for it? That's what I'm wondering. Like,
I think
yeah, what you said.
just massive boosts to the economy somehow. Like they'll really push
Yeah, well,
shopping and
as we've seen,
eating
that
out.
has lowered
Yeah, exactly.
to 5%.
Yeah. I
Or
feel
VA.
I don't know. I feel like there's only three feasible options to me. And that is either austerity, which would be incredibly bad.
That's been ruled out.
That's
so,
been
yeah.
ruled out,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
I don't have much trust in the government. And although you support them, George, I think you can understand that after
Fair enough.
a decade of it, I wouldn't be surprised if we go back. And
I would at this point, having seen what Boris has said in the past and having seen what the way he's been looking at dealing with it, I don't think he'll go into austerity.
yeah, maybe. Well, I really
Maybe.
hope so.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
another
fair.
option would be raising VAT, like after we've like properly come out of this. And I
So
feel
that'd
like
be-
that would be an
That's a
okay.
feasible option.
Pardon?
That will be by January because the current VAT that they've lowered it
Mm,
plays in January, which is just to, as you said earlier, to get a bump in
yeah,
the economy, retail, and
yeah.
whatnot.
I feel like hiring VAT will be okay, but obviously it'll be a
Yeah.
bit annoying.
It wouldn't be ideal for people and for businesses, but
And it wouldn't be ideal for like the working class, obviously.
no.
But and then I think one of the best options they have is raising income tax for the wealthy, which is a very Labour move. But I feel like they might go that way.
Yeah, I think that's-
If Rishi Sunak does go that way, then I will be moderate with him because at the moment I don't like him. But if he does that, I'll be
Really?
moderate with him. No, I don't
I
really
don't
like
see-
him. I feel like a lot of people
Yeah.
just like him at the moment because he's just been giving away money.
Yeah, I respect him. I feel like he's doing what he feels he should be doing, like is right.
Yeah, it's a
But I
tough
don't
job
know-
as well. I mean, this is his
It is a tough
first.
job,
This is his
especially.
first cabinet position. I think this is
He's
one of
a-
his first like.
Oh, he's a
proper
young
political
guy. He's
positions.
only like in his late 30s, and like
Yeah.
for a
He had
politician,
millions in the banks after the within the crash.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
and considering he's taken up this job during a global pandemic,
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's done okay, but
I'm not gonna say he's the best, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens. We'll see if Sunak proves himself to the council, to the OxPol
Yeah,
community, or
We'll be the
zero of
judges.
you listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, where are we going to publish this
Well,
for the
I've
viewers?
I've for the viewers. So I've made a YouTube channel, OxPol Podcast,
Uh-huh.
and then I've also made an Anchor thing, so that will put us on Spotify and iTunes and stuff.
So if you're listening to this, wherever you are listening, be sure to give us a like, share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Sorry, a shameless little
Shameless
Shameless.
little, yeah, whatever that's called.
advertisement.
Shall we,
Yeah, I'll probably make an OxPol Podcast Instagram soon, so I can post updates when episodes come out and whatever.
Yeah.
And even if there's only one or two of you listening, I will still want to make stuff. So that's cool. Anyway,
We just like
talking a lot, and we've decided to record it. Like, you may ask why some people that have no idea what they're talking about are putting it on the internet, and it's because we just enjoy doing it, I guess. So
quickly.
yeah,
You could ask
Good
the
move.
same
the
thing.
British population really needs something to keep them going.
Yeah.
Really, something super intellectual to keep them going in these.
We need something to get the wheels of the economy going. And
Yeah, this
whatever
will
Boris was saying.
go out and spend.
Exactly. So
Yes. My sister just came in my room and gave me a big thumbs up and then slammed the door.
Interesting situation.
I'm a bit worried about that.
Can you
Anyhow,
imagine?
well, I guess this is furthering the topic of COVID-19. The Leicester lockdown, the local lockdown, the only proper local lockdown we've had since the formal nationwide lockdown.
yeah.
What do you have to say about this? And do you think there'll be more to come in the future?
Yeah, I thought the government said they were planning to like do hundreds of them, like
Yeah.
smaller lockdowns. I laugh so hard if like Marsh Bolden gets locked down and that's it, or like they lock down just all small villages around Oxford and that's it.
Yeah,
and they just
Darlington and Horsepath.
Newnham Courtney locked down forever.
Oh Lord.
They just bomb Newnham Courtney. That's it. But yeah, I thought they were planning to do lots. I think localized lockdowns are a good way to do
I
it.
reckon there's going to be a lot more in the coming months.
Yeah, it's
But
like
then-
that plague story. You know that town in like Derbyshire or whatever. They had it's like they made it into a play, I think, or whatever. I think it might be real, but I'm not sure if it's real or not. And they had like the plague in the town, right? And then they were like, all right, nobody leave the town, and they like killed someone leaving and stuff. I don't know why. It just kind of reminds me of that, but less gruesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like absolute chaos.
Yeah, sounds chaotic indeed.
Folks, if you're listening in, you'll eventually become used to that word. George likes to.
He's a very
Use that
chaotic
word.
chap.
He is a chaotic chap. He uses that word
Yes.
quite a bit. So yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. It was quite sad. Did you hear about what they found in Leicester though? Like these people working in like slave-like conditions, like modern slavery, and like being paid nothing to like produce clothes for like Boohoo and stuff. And it's like everyone was getting so shocked at it, and I was just like, oh, welcome to capitalism, lol. Just like, did you not expect that was gonna happen?
Yeah, this has been going on for quite some years in many businesses.
I learned about like the HMSC, so like the people that regulate like the minimum wage and that kind of stuff. They it's very difficult for them to make arrests because they show up to these factories, right? And then they can ask to see the books, right, to see if everyone's being paid correctly, right?
Yeah.
And then they can say, right, no, the book's with the accountant, right? And so then the HMSC have to give them a 30-day notice, right? And in 30 days they can cook the books completely.
Oh yeah, I have a good story about that sort. Well, less about slavery, but a good story about money laundering and other some such.
We're intrigued.
Anyway, so there's a luxury car dealership up in Cheshire, and someone that is known to us was selling their Bentley there. Like they needed to get rid of this, and they went up to the dealership.
They needed to get rid of the Bentley. It was just a burden on them.
Yes, it had been bought for them by their son, and what they did was there's a limit on. So, like, if you were to do a complete cash transfer of money, that would be too suspicious. Like, this is of 95 grand.
Oh yeah.
So what they do is, instead of doing one massive cash transfer, they do 80 grand's worth of, like, it's like registered, and then they do 15 grand's cash, and this is just a way for them to money launder and
Oh wow.
push money into their drugs business. And
Christ.
it's known, but they can't do anything about it. So
Wow.
that was rather interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with money laundering a lot of the time. That's like why it exists, obviously, because
Yeah, because it's so easy to get around.
yeah, like I walk around undisclosed town, and I see all these like businesses that never ever ever have anyone on in them. Yeah,
It's like
the
all
lights
of
are on.
these-
The lights are on every night, and they've been going for years. It's like, what is
Yeah.
going on?
It's like all the phone repair shops that you see. Like, there's millions of them, and loads of them are like right next to each other. Never
Yeah.
anyone in them, and I'm 100% sure they're used for that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Right. It is interesting.
But yeah, it's yeah. Huh. But anyway, yeah, I feel like there will be more lockdowns, especially
yeah.
now.
Yeah, major
they'll
cities.
they'll like localize lockdown all the towns in the UK instead of just causing a national lockdown. Just slowly tick
All
them
the-
off.
All the villagers can, go out and do.
Yeah, just towns. The
The
cities are
cities and
fine as
towns.
well.
Yeah, just towns.
Just towns in general. What defines a town? Like
A city is anything with a cathedral.
A
I'm pretty
cathedral.
sure.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I don't know what a town is, but I'm guessing it's just.
does a town have to have a council, or does it? Is it
Yeah,
which
I
comes first? Surely the town comes before the council.
It is, yeah. A town is a built-up area with a name, defined boundaries, and a local government.
A local government, okay. Huh. Well, I suppose the place gets big enough, and then I'm assuming the county council then lets them form a town council.
Yeah.
Yeah, governance
Absolutely.
structure. That's,
Do you like a good governance structure, George?
yes, I'm
City
very
skyline.
enthusiastic about that.
But anyway, right.
Right. Well. Right. So.
We have to consult the list. The big.
Yeah.
The
We're
big,
gonna have to
big
go over
fat
to
list.
the podcast ideas.
Uh,
What's on the agenda?
the 2020 US presidential election.
Oh wow, we are making a major leap here. This should be good.
I can't see this
So-
ending too well.
On here we've got Creepy Joe.
Creepy Joe and Orange Man.
Indeed.
Do you like my joke? Do you get it? Because he's
Yeah,
orange.
so that-
Yeah, good one, that, isn't it?
Love that. Yeah.
So this is really a very interesting predicament
It's
in
like-
America.
It's like last year, right? You put Hillary versus Trump, and you're like, right, this can't get any worse, right? It can't get
just
crazier than this, right? And then you have Joe Biden
Creepy Joe.
versus
God, he's
an
truly
incumbent
like-
Trump. Oh my god, what is going on? Why can Bernie just?
This is what we think. I don't know if George
Yeah,
is not a massive fan of Bernie, but
as you can
No,
see,
I just like
listeners,
Bernie a lot.
me and Bryn are very big Bernie bros.
yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I just don't see why the people.
Because they
wanted Bernie.
rallied the establishment against him. It was the Democrats'
Exactly.
fault.
It's the Democrats. They're just too used to. I mean, this is
centre
me
right.
going out of my comfort zone, but they're too used to pushing these centrists who don't have many.
Yeah, and
radical
they've
ideas.
got it's like they've got a track record of pushing centrist candidates and them losing, right?
Yeah, except from Obama.
Well, Obama wasn't really. He was a lot more liberal
Yeah,
than
true.
normal ones. He was a lot
Democratic
more like
candidate.
against the establishment, I guess. I
Yeah,
mean, not as
yeah.
much as Bernie, obviously, but like,
No, but in terms of his economics, he was.
yeah, economics, he was like centre right, obviously.
But yeah, Bernie he's just different, and he's something America needs, in my opinion, because
Yeah, America
been-
is on its knees right now, especially
It is.
now. Oh my god.
with the coronavirus, and it's taking its toll on them because all the misinformation and all the the lies spread about. It's just, yeah. What do you have to say, George?
Well, firstly, to do with the Democrats, I think Yang or Bloomberg were the
Oh my god,
most acceptable.
Bloomberg.
Oh.
Are you being paid by Bloomberg to say that?
Well, he just wasn't very, he didn't lean in any
He thought he could
real
just.
direction.
I mean, you pretty much can in the US, but he thought he could basically buy himself the nomination.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. Well,
we do have billionaires on the document.
but
So we'll get
Judge,
to that
whatever
after.
his name was good. He was
Who?
alright.
Wait, say that again.
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Whatever his
I
name
think
is.
it's
Yeah.
Buttigieg. Yeah. Yeah, nah.
He was alright. I think Bernie was the best candidate.
Bernie was by
In
far
my
the best.
opinion.
I don't think
No,
anyone
Yang
will
was
come
the
close
best
to
for me.
Bernie. Like
Andrew
in
Yang was
recent
a close, well, not close, but he was a moderate second.
Yeah,
I
but
would
Andrew
say.
Yang had no real chances. He was just
No,
he was
he
a
didn't.
very,
He's
very
new.
new person. I mean,
You
you
wait
say
a
so
few
so is
seconds,
Trump, you could say, but Trump it kind of shows how like some people are very, very powerful.
Yeah.
And I feel like Yang only really appealed to younger people. But I think like
Yeah.
that was his point. I didn't think he was trying to win. I think he was trying to like influence policy. Because he did get people talking a lot about UBI and stuff like that. Like,
He's going for 2024 as well.
oh,
Yeah,
really?
and possibly just gain a bit of momentum, really, for
Yeah.
the future.
I mean, I'd never really heard. I mean, I kind of heard about it, but I'd never really heard of UBI until he came about, and now I'm a big supporter of UBI. I think it's great. So it does
You
get
should
people
see-
talking.
Yang went on Ben Shapiro's podcast, which was rather interesting.
Oh, I didn't see that. Was that on the Daily Wire?
Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, it was. I'll find
Oh, I
it.
need
But
to-
it
I need to
was
check
rather
that out.
good.
It was Ben Shapiro, the absolute Adonis, Hercules, wrecking him
Yeah.
with facts
Ben
and
Shapiro
logic.
seems to be, well, from what I heard, Ben Shapiro was, he really quite respected Andrew. I don't know if that was the case on the interview. I haven't listened to it, but
Yeah, it was. No, yeah, it was a very it was a good interview. I might have fallen asleep halfway through. But
Because it was Ben Shapiro not wrecking anyone.
no, it was more of a sort of a conversation.
yeah, just more of a civil discussion.
Odd how he
Yeah.
does that, isn't it? Bit out of
here we go.
character.
Yeah,
Ben Shapiro on Andrew Yang, my boy.
yeah, I listened to him say. He said, "Oh yeah, this is my boy."
This is my
Yeah.
boy. Oh my god.
Interesting.
I've
man.
never Ben Shapiro has never occurred to me as someone that is a big supporter of UBI. He'd probably be completely
Yeah.
against it, but alas, he's a strange man. I'm not sure if he just he's just crazy. He's absolutely mental, Ben Shapiro,
Mm.
and I don't understand how anyone can take him seriously at all ever.
He's a god tier chap, is what he is.
Yeah, our opinions on Ben Shapiro contrast greatly to those of George.
Of course.
Well, he's just a neocon, isn't he? He's just sort of a basic conservative.
But obviously, facts don't care about your feelings unless it's any of his talking points, because they're like fundamentally based in feelings. But alas, that's fine, because facts still don't care.
Exactly.
Exactamundo. But anyway, what are our predictions for the US election? You go first, Bryn.
My predictions, if from February, stood firmly as Donald Trump. Unfortunately, I don't want. I'm not. It's not like I'm pushing for Biden. I'm not a big fan of Biden, but at least the Democrats, which I prefer, would be in power. Now I'm looking at most likely Trump. I'm not saying definitely anyway, because of all incidents that have happened and the George Floyd riots and what have you. People are turning on Trump and his failure to do enough, in my opinion,
Yeah,
during the
I feel like
coronavirus
he's
pandemic.
not just done enough for coronavirus. He's not done enough for the protesters.
Yeah, exactly. He's not done enough for anyone. He's
Yeah.
not a leader that they can count on,
Yeah.
so they don't feel like they've got a direction. So I could see it going either way if Biden capitalizes. But the thing is, don't know what he's going to do because he's
I mean, he's
not
Joe
really right in the
Biden.
head anymore. It's Joe Biden.
But yeah, I feel this is like the perfect setup for anyone other than Joe Biden to win the election.
It is.
Right? The US economy is on its knees. I mean, they've had the highest coronavirus deaths. The president literally talked like a month ago about injecting bleach. disinfectant or whatever into your body, and when you live in a country, right, where your president wearing a mask makes frontline news, then something is wrong. I think something is fundamentally wrong with that establishment, and it's the perfect setup for someone to come in and sweep it, but they picked Joe Biden.
Yeah. Couldn't have made a more stupid mistake, really.
Yeah, I could see. For me, I feel like Trump's going to win the re-election, and Biden will come close. And hopefully, I really don't want Trump to win. But if he does win, at least the Democrats will maybe think again about pitching establishment centre-right candidates.
Yeah. You would have thought they would have learned their lesson after him.
Yeah, you would have thought that, but Trump has lost a vital key point in his just like not policy campaign.
Yeah.
Is that he's no longer an outsider, because he came in as this like outsider that's going to tear apart all these like corrupt politicians, even though he's like one of the most corrupt businessmen ever. But that's besides the point. But now he is, by definition, the ultimate insider. He is the president
of the United States, the most powerful country in the world.
He is the insider on everything in the world.
Exactly. So, George,
I will now give my view on the whole thing. I reckon this might take a minute, but
okay.
First of all, I see Biden as I don't see him as a strong leader or someone that could in any way help with the economy necessarily throughout his leadership, considering he said that the era for shareholder capitalism is over. I thought that was just absolutely abhorrent.
I don't think he means any of that, though. I think he's just saying words.
Yeah, fair enough. I also think that Kanye signed through his papers today.
I thought he said he was out.
Oh, I saw two things. I saw that as well, but yeah. If he does end up running, I reckon that Trump will 100% win, because he'll split the vote, and I reckon that will benefit Trump more than Biden.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And if not, I reckon it will be around 51-49 to Trump.
Yeah, something like a very close margin.
I'd also like to add that some of the things that I've just read about Trump saying that he is going to do if he does get in. Mm-hmm. And he said he was going to repeal all of the consumer tax on medical equipment. So that sounds rather...
I've
got
a better policy than that. It's called single payer universal healthcare.
Yeah, it's a little something that every other highly developed country has. So
he's doubling the HSA contributions, which will mean that it will make medical expenses a lot easier, and it won't be taxed. So I think that's but I think for the economy at least, Trump will do a much better job because he's a businessman, and I feel like.
Yeah, but have you looked at his businesses? I swear he's failed quite a few businesses, and he inherited the Trump thing. Like, I don't know. He's an awful president. He is an awful president.
He is, and he might have the economy in mind, but does he have the best interest of the people in mind?
But absolutely even if it is the economy, I think the US population is waking up to see that, like, because he talks about, like, what is it called? The Dow Jones, is that it? Like the index of the stock market there?
Yeah, Dow Jones.
Yeah, the Dow Jones. He talks about, the Dow Jones is 12 points up, blah, 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 blah. But the people in the US aren't experiencing that. When have they been reaping the benefits? Like, he said he was going to make America great again, but what has he changed? No one is better off. Like, if you look at the people...
Employment levels are a lot better. I mean, that, when you look at the graphs, where I find it, so...
Yeah, but even so, employment levels are just... It doesn't really indicate. I mean, if, like, most of the population, now they're, like, working for minimum wage, like loads of hours a week, that's not really a good indication that they're reaping the benefits. I mean, if you look at all the people in, like, Appalachia, right? They were, like, massive Trump supporters, because they like, "Oh, make America great," because they were in the coal industry, and obviously
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
shut down now. And now Trump has done nothing to help them whatsoever, and
Yeah.
I think they'll realise that.
If I'm honest as well, they may have, I don't know, defended him throughout his term since 2016, saying, "Oh, he might not have done anything necessarily wrong," but like now during this pandemic, he's really shown his true colours, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
He's not. You surely cannot support him after he has failed his country.
Yeah, but then you go on. Like I sent you that video earlier, the Chad Goes Deep one, where they were just out in, I think it was Florida, and they were trying to give out masks.
Yes, yeah,
And
that
it was
video.
just like,
That's just
the
shocking.
misinformation
Can
is
I
just
say about
absolutely
this?
incredible.
How does
I think that Trump has done a horrific job, but I also think that people blindly following anything anyone says, like about, when they protested the lockdown, I don't think that's helped.
No, I don't.
No, but the thing is, right, I reckon, well, I feel the reason they've done that, partly a lot of them are just quite stupid, but like, they don't have a leader that they can look to.
Not stupid.
For guidance.
Not stupid. Uneducated.
Uneducated, sorry, uneducated. But they don't have a leader that they can look to have that support or to have that assurance during these unsettling times. They can't. He advised the lockdown, but he never like openly ever told people to properly do. I don't think.
Like when the lockdown was going on, he was putting out tweets saying like, "Liberate Minnesota" or whatever. I can't remember, but he was like against the lockdown, and it's it's like, hold on, I'm gonna go on a little rant here. And it's like, it really shows that people like Trump and I'm not saying conservatives as a whole, I'm saying those Republicans are only there to serve their best interests, and that is making money. He loses money if people are in lockdown. I mean, it's as simple as that. All his Republican mates lose money if they're in lockdown. You saw, like, I'm not sure if you saw this, Bryn, but I'm probably sure you saw it, George, that just after hearing classified coronavirus briefings, loads of Republicans pulled their stocks before it was even released to the public. And if that isn't a blank, the clear as day representation that the Republicans are only there to serve their best interests of making money and possibly exploiting people, then I think, it's clear. To me, at least. And I think to a lot of people as well.
I might just add about lockdown. I think it can be. So with the protests about said killing, I think there's an element of hypocrisy, because the people protesting about the killing of George Floyd are also the people that were complaining about Trump's lack of leadership when it came to COVID, and I don't think that's helped at all in the slightest either. So I think it can be
maybe, but I feel like it's more of a worthy cause to a certain degree. Like, I would go out and protest, and I would risk my life for that kind of thing, because it's like something that matters a lot, and if stuff doesn't happen, then stuff won't ever change, and that's very plainly obvious. And like, Trump's handling of the protests have been absolutely disgusting. Like, this is one example. I mean, it's been abhorrent throughout the entire country, but this is one example in the Lafayette Square. I think it's Lafayette Square, it might be Lafayette Park, I don't know. Opposite the White House, right? Lots of people protest there. Peaceful protests, right? And then suddenly, everyone just gets tear gassed. Tear gas everywhere, rubber pellets, just complete violent. Like, it's not like it's a riot, it's a police riot. The police are causing these riots.
And the thing is, that was the Washington Guard that they sent out. The police didn't even have an idea of what was going on. The Washington Guard, was sent out by Trump.
Yeah.
Do his dirty work just so he could get a little photo.
Yeah, holding the Bible the wrong way round at a church where I think the pastor, or whatever it's called, I'm not really sure about religious terminology, but the guy said he didn't even approve of it. Like, what? This guy is a
I would like to
joke.
say here
Like,
that as much as it was unwarranted, that a small percentage of the rioters, like that weren't necessarily a part of the protest, were throwing bricks at his like entourage, so to speak.
yeah, but that was after the police had been let out, surely.
Was it? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I've not
because
seen.
I swear they cleared the park with the police to get the photo op. So I assume it's after
Maybe
if
so.
they were fighting, like not fighting, if they were like protesting or whatever. But yeah, it's just, to me, it's just not right. It's
I'd
not
also
right
like
in the
to say that
slightest.
one thing I think Trump has maybe, I think the only thing he's done well during that is he did sign an executive order on police reform, which is rather
Yeah,
more of a
I mean,
statement.
I do like what they're doing in I forgot the place. I think it might be Denver, but they're like trying an experiment where they like get social workers to respond to calls that
You see,
police would
well-
normally respond to, and I think that's a very good idea because I was speaking about this with our other co-host the other day, and it was about like how like a lot of calls just don't need to be responded by police. Like if someone was having a the correct word, mental health crisis, right? I'm sure you know what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want a man wearing, not necessarily a man, just a person coming up to you wearing full gear, like a baton and a taser. Like you want someone that like understands how to talk
Someone
to these
who looks
people.
like they're there to actually sympathise with you.
Yeah, not
I've
punish
just sent a
you.
video to the group chat on Instagram. Whether it'll have come through yet, I don't know.
Okay.
But it talks about this, and I found it rather interesting.
What,
it might
like,
not have come through.
Positively or
Still send it.
negatively?
More negatively, because it just explains the situation. Like an example that, so they offered, I think someone within the tested area offered an example of a situation whereby it was like more of a domestic abuse situation,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just sending a video that explains it rather well.
I shall check that out later. But they had this thing in I forgot where it was, but it's called Cahoots, and I'm pretty sure that's been going on for like ages. It is, I don't know. It's like a town somewhere, but like basically for years they've had these like people that are like social workers and like police work in tandem to respond to calls, and it has been working for a very long time. And I feel like that is a move we should go to, because I do believe that the police in America have become, I mean, I just think the government in general, I think the police have really shown their colours in that they're there to suppress people.
Yeah,
and they're there to serve the desires, but like serve the ruling class. I think
there is a lot of work to be done with the police force and authorities as a whole,
yeah, I do.
and in a lot of the
I
world.
think-
I don't agree with defunding the police, but I agree with
No, me
fixing
neither,
the
I-
police.
Well, I don't believe in completely defunding it, but I feel like we should like.
But the thing with defunding it is, I think
But defunding is like quite a catch-all term, because defunding could be delegating some police things to social workers, because that would save money and you would be putting less money into police. So that is still
I'll
defunding.
explain how I think it should be dealt with.
Okay.
I know you're probably not going to like this, but there you go.
I'll still
your
like
opinion.
it, but I might not agree with it.
In the USA, I reckon they should. I think a lot of the problem is that the police is dominated by very power-hungry individuals. I think we should push more funding into the police, just so we can see better training, better more, so they're more equipped to deal with a wider variety of situations, and they've got better equipment to do so. And I think that could involve giving them an element of mental health training. Instead of separating it into two parts, we should incorporate it into one, where because at the minute it only takes about 3 months to train to become a police officer. I think
Yeah.
we should increase that and fund them more, so that We can do more training in all fields, and
I don't know. I feel like that's possible without having to fund them more.
Thing is, I agree with George on that basis.
I feel like we should work better on training, but I feel like we should delegate some of the responsibilities to the police, and also reduce like the power that the police actually has. Like you look at civil asset forfeiture, right? Which is this process in which that someone suspected of a crime, they can just take your stuff and just keep it, for example. Or the thing that in, I think it's like 35 states, I'm not sure, don't quote me on this number, but like the police officers can have sex with the people in custody, right? That kind of things, like there's a lot of things like that that really need to be worked on because they just aren't right.
Yeah, I feel like changing up the way the police system works, the goal really, if they want to make a difference, rather than I think George's what he said about funding it more to get more training and basic learning on different aspects is important, but yeah, I don't know if we need to boost funding, so to speak, but rather just change the way they
give it a bit of a shuffle.
Exactly, yeah. So
I think they should maybe reduce military spending a bit and pump the extra money into the police force for that extra training. That's how I see it.
Yeah, we're not going to get into military today, though.
We will discuss that.
With me and Bryn.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It is a very, very strange time. 2020 has been a crazy, crazy thing.
A roller coaster of emotions.
Exactamundo. A roller coaster of emotions indeed.
Yeah, so
speaking of a roller coaster of emotions, a character has returned in the news, and her name is Shamima Begum.
We would be getting to her eventually.
Oh, have you got something else you wanted to talk about beforehand?
No. I'm saying, like, here we are.
Here we are. Eventually is now. But yeah, what do you guys think about it? I'm not sure about the news. I'll have to look that up. But what do you think, George?
I disagree with her being allowed back. I think we should take her into custody somehow. I don't think we should spend, like, I'm not sure of what their plans are at the minute, but
I think it's Shmute. She's going to court to remove to fight the decision to remove her British citizenship.
But then the problem with that is then she'll be let out and she'll be back as a citizen, and she can essentially, from that point, leech off the government to fund her life, because it's not like anyone's going to employ her, is it?
I disagree with the term leeching as a whole. I don't think anyone's leeching off the government, but
I think considering she went to join a terrorist organisation, and
but then again, George, she was very young. She was, what was it, 15, right?
Fair enough, but
and you got to have some. No, I'm not going to say you got to have some humanity. I'm not going to make you sound like a like a psychopath. No, I'm saying like something went wrong, and I think she should come back, go against the court in the UK, right, as a UK citizen, right, go through the legal proceedings, and then once she's in prison or whatever, right, then we help her. We have a duty as a country to help our citizens. And regardless of what they've done, I still think we should help them.
I agree there. Yeah. She was born here. She was raised here. I'm not saying.
Sorry, Carl.
I'm not sure what she truly deserves or not, but she should definitely. The issue should be dealt with in our country. At the end of the day, that's just that's how I see it.
And I think stuff like this is completely abstract from spending. Like, I don't think money is like a thing in this circumstance. I think it's just a thing of principle as a whole.
I don't necessarily agree on like a very basic level there.
Yeah, I think that's just a fundamental difference.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that for sure is an interesting one, and I'm
It is.
sure as the things develop, we will talk about that again. Did we have
shall
anything
have-
else on the list, or
Oh yeah, what were we talking about previous to this that we said we should add in? That sounded rather
What
an
were we
interesting
talking about?
subject. You know, the transgender thing. That was it.
Transgender thing. Why don't you introduce us on this, George?
yeah? Why don't you
I
listen
don't
to
need to
this?
be up to
It was-
speed on this.
You know, when I talked about catfishing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to talk about that on another episode,
Okay, fair enough.
if that's okay
Yeah,
with
perhaps
you.
we shall save that for.
Yeah, because we're kind of running out of time here. Believe it or not,
Yeah,
boys, we've been
had
speaking
very
for
good
51
discussion tonight.
minutes.
Yes,
It was
we've
more discussion based rather than a debate, but
really
Yeah.
more debate to come over the episodes.
One last
think we'll
thing,
get
what
more
I wanted to
discussion.
talk about before we depart is TikTok. Funnily enough,
Oh, of course, TikTok. I should have remembered.
what a beautiful app!
Oh, yeah,
I
it's
was
our
definitely,
favourite.
I was definitely not paid by the Chinese government to say that.
Oh no, of course not.
Of course not. Of course not. What do you guys think? Do you think it should be banned?
Should
I
it be
mean-
banned? I don't know. I don't have a preference on whether it should be. I'm not that bothered, to be fair. I'm not.
I mean,
I
if
don't
it's-
like the platform, but like,
Hmm.
I guess there are some issues surrounding it. And a lot
If
of
there's a genuine safety concern, I can't see why it shouldn't be banned.
Yeah, this is one thing I agree with you on, George. I feel most things like Huawei and like the government.
Yeah.
And I supported the government's decision to get rid of the
Yeah,
the stuff
good,
on the
I
thing
agree,
because
yeah.
it is a credible safety concern because it's all
Yeah,
getting fed
especially
back
considering
there.
it's China.
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't researched much about this
And,
TikTok, so I'm
If
not
you look
really sure.
if you look on TikTok, there's a lot of propaganda, like a lot of soft power propaganda. It's horrendous, and it's the same on Facebook. It's why I supported Keir Starmer when he said that the Labour Party will stop advertising on Facebook unless they get their act together. Because one reason, sorry, about them stopping was to help like BLM and that kind of thing get like news around. But another one was because Facebook is letting like stuff from far right propaganda come in from the Kremlin, and like far left, not far left, but like authoritarian, like Chinese propaganda from China and Islamist propaganda from Iran, and it's just letting that happen. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like they're trying to polarize us. It's trying to mix up discourse in the Western world. For example, so I was listening to LBC the other day, and a guy on there explained. I do like a good bit of LBC.
Who was it? May I just ask?
It was Majid.
Oh yeah. Mm.
He's a good chap. I do like him. But I'm sure you don't as much, but I do like him.
No, I'm more of a fan of Nick Ferrari. I quite like him.
Nick Ferrari. Yeah, I get what you mean. But he was talking about how, for example, let's take you two, for example, my fine co-hosts. Let's say Bryn was like kind of tiny bit left, an Ed Miliband supporter, one might say. Good bit of Ed, good bit of bacon eating.
My favorite man. Oh yeah, bacon sandwiches.
Yeah, and then
for
let's say
days.
George was like centre right, so let's say Lib Dem, right? The
Yeah,
right.
That's
The
horrible, mate.
Kremlin. So this is like stuff funded by the Kremlin, so Russia, right? And it's not directly funded by them. They fund organizations which then get people in like Africa,
it's like
and places like that.
Kremlin.
Like places in Africa and places like that to like post this like stuff, this propaganda, and basically you start looking at it, right, and then you start going into it and into it and into it, and then eventually you end up, it's like a rabbit hole. You end up like BNP level, right? So now you're BNP, right? Bryn, on the other hand, right? Let's say the CCP were pumping like quite far left propaganda, right? Bryn keeps reading it and reading it and reading it, and then he gets more authoritarian, right? Then he becomes like kind of status level, supporting the CCP and that kind of thing, like being critical of Hong Kong, right? And then all of a sudden, you two hate each other. You won't talk to each other because you're so incredibly polarized, and that's what they're trying to do. They're breaking down discourse.
It's not good, is it?
No.
I don't agree with that.
And people like Facebook need to get their act together and just sort it out. Because
They do. Big Zuck needs to get on there and.
Because although
Do what
I am a very, 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 very big supporter of freedom of speech, right?
Yes, good.
However, I do think companies like Twitter, Facebook, I don't believe they're inherent human rights to us, right? I don't feel like being banned on Twitter is a suppression of your freedom of speech, because it's not an extension of our rights. Twitter wasn't created for us as a right. It was created by someone to make money. So
Fair enough, but I think the level of usership.
But if maybe if a government made it, okay, fair enough. But it's not. It's a private company. So
fair enough.
and as a private company, I believe they have a responsibility to filter the stuff on their site and not let that kind of thing happen.
Fair enough. I understand that. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah,
I think that concludes our
brings us to a
podcast.
close.
We can
That brings us to a close indeed.
That went surprisingly well, actually. I half expected us to sit in silence for 30
That
minutes.
was quite enjoyable.
Yeah.
The first ever episode, the soft launch, you could say.
The soft launch, the pilot,
Yeah.
I might say. But yeah, I enjoyed that. I'm gonna have to go through and listen to the entire thing again, which should be very, very fun and slightly cringe. But
Yeah, I agree.
but
But,
it has been fun.
There you go.
Worst was that I hate my voice on recording.
I
so
detest
there you
my
go.
voice. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
Yeah.
To their
Your
own
voice,
voice.
you've got quite a soothing voice, actually, George. I quite like your voice. Same with you, Bryn, actually.
Thank you.
Oh, really? I'll take that.
It's alright, anytime.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back with another episode when we feel like it. Because once again, you can't
Good,
control us.
Yes,
We
this
do
is
what
we
we
are
want. We're
strong libertarians. through
Big
and through.
boys now. But yeah, Bryn would like to give some
Ah,
closing
yes.
words.
Of course, in this time of hardship, we must all persevere. We must all show great determination. And in time, we will all succeed. Have a good evening,
Love.
everybody. I don't know why we added that. I just said it earlier. And we were like,
Beautiful,
just put it in.
beautiful. Anyway, guys, we'll see you later. Cheers for listening.
Goodbye, chaps.
Bye bye.
have a good evening. Have a good morning.
See you later.
Wherever you are.
Check you later. Bye bye.